you can write a program to generate the square wave using the polling method. And I have clearly mentioned that you can program the timers or the counters of 8051 in two methods. One is the polling method and another one is the interrupt method. So whatever we have discussed in today's class, that is all about the polling method, and writing the program for timer or the counter of 8051 is also known as programming the timer interrupts. Programming the timer interrupts means it's not a new concept, it is the same concept, and there will be only one step change in the steps that we have discussed for polling, and the remaining all will be same. And why we are going for the interrupt method? Why we are going for interrupt method? I'll tell you. If you look at this particular program, here we are writing loop. We are writing a loop. I mean, here we are saying that one statement needs to be repeated for so many times until the overflow flag bit becomes 1. That means the controller has to wait when the overflow flag is going to be set, because it has been involved in this particular program. So it cannot go out from this particular program until and unless this program has been completed. And within this particular program, here we are repeating one particular statement. That means this statement will be repeated so many times until the overflow flag becomes 1. So it may take 5 minutes, or it may take 1 minute, or it may take 100 minutes also. During that particular time, controller cannot go out of this program and it cannot serve any other interrupts. So that is considered as an disadvantage, and in order to overcome that disadvantage, that means even though the controller is working with this particular program, it no need to wait till the overflow flag becomes 1. So in that way, this interrupt method will help us to develop the program in such a way that parallelly the controller can execute this program and it can also execute the other programs also. That means there is no waiting period for the controller if you are developing a code for the timer using interrupt method. That is the disadvantage of polling method, is that controller has to wait until the overflow flag bit becomes 1. So in order to overcome that particular disadvantage, we will be moving on to the interrupt method. So programming timers or the counters of 8051 using interrupts is also known as programming the timer interrupts. Programming the timer interrupts. So now we'll be discussing how to program the timers using interrupts. In polling method, we haven't used any interrupt. So now in this particular program, we'll be introducing the interrupts. So before we move on to the program, let me give you what are the registers to be used, and what exactly the interrupts and how many interrupts are there in 8051 microcontrollers. So you all know what is an interrupt. It is nothing but interrupting is nothing but generating a signal, an unwanted signal to a controller. Generation of an unwanted signal to a controller, that is nothing but an interrupt. And here 8051, it is having totally 5 interrupts. It has totally 5 interrupts, and out of those 5, 3 interrupts are internal interrupts and 2 interrupts are external interrupts. If you could remember, int 0 bar and int 1 bar, they are nothing but the pins of the 8051. That means those interrupts which are coming through those pins, they are called as external. That means external device is giving some interrupt to the controller using these two pins, int 0 bar and int 1 bar. So these two interrupts, they will be falling under external interrupts. And apart from these two, we have timer 0 overflow interrupt, timer 1 overflow interrupt, and reset interrupt. So these three will happen within the software itself. So these three are called as internal interrupts and these two are called as external interrupts. So in order to write the program for timer interrupts, actually the registers which will help to serve these interrupts, there are 3 registers: TCON register, IE register, and IP register. We have seen how TCON register will help to start the counter and to stop the counter and to serve the overflow flag, etc. we have seen. And the remaining 2 registers which will help us to serve these interrupts are interrupt enable register and interrupt priority registers. IE stands for interrupt enable and IP stands for interrupt priority. So now we'll look into these 2 registers and then we'll go for the programming. See, so this is the what we call register set of interrupt enable. Interrupt enable, it is also of 8-bit register. It is also of 8-bit register starting with D0 to D7. So here E, wherever you find E, E stands for enable. E stands for enable. See here, if you observe the last bit, that is nothing but D8 bit, it is EA. That means enable all the interrupts. Enable all the interrupts. What it is trying to say is that there are 5 interrupts. There are 5 interrupts, out of which 3 are. So if this particular bit becomes 1, if D8, D7 bit of IE table becomes 1, that indicates that whatever the interrupts that are coming to the controller, all those interrupts needs to be served by the controller. It cannot avoid them. If this bit becomes 1, that indicates the controller that whatever the interrupt that you are getting, whether it is an internal interrupt or an external interrupt, you must and should serve that interrupt. So by defaultly, this bit has to be 1 in order to write the program for timer interrupts. This bit should be 1. And once if this bit is 1, and based on the individual bits, this indicates that serve the all the interrupts based on their individual values only. See here, if you look into this D6, it has been not implemented, and D5 it is reserved for the future use. So only these will be looking at only these 5 bits. So ES means enable serial port interrupt. Enable serial port interrupt. ET1 means enable timer 1 interrupt. Enable timer 1 interrupt. EX1 means enable external interrupt 1. Enable external interrupt 1. Here ET0 means enable timer 0 interrupt. Enable timer 0 interrupt. EX0 means enable external interrupt 0. So enable external interrupt 0, enable timer 0 interrupt, enable external interrupt 1, enable timer 1 interrupt, enable serial port interrupt. So in order to make them as zeros or in order to make them as 1, this bit should be by defaultly 1, because it is the key for all these interrupts. If it is 0 and if you are making any of these as 1, then that interrupt is not going to be served by the, it is not going to be survived by the controller. Say for example, if ET1 is equals to 1, that means the controller should serve the timer 1 interrupt, but it will be looking for EA value. If EA value is equals to 1 and ET value is equals to 1, if only when these two values are 1, then only the controller will serve the interrupt that is coming from the timer 1. If EA value is equals to 0 and if ET1 value is equals to 1, that means timer 1 interrupt enable, you have enabled this timer 1 interrupt, but you haven't given 1 to this. Then in that cases, the controller may serve this and it may not serve this. So independent of the value that you are giving, the first thing is that the last bit of IE table should always be 1. Once if it is 1, and then based on the values that you are giving to these interrupts, that particular interrupt is going to be survived. Say for example, if you want to, if you are working with timer 0, and if you want to say to the controller that whatever the interrupt that is coming from timer 0 should be served, then in those cases, you need to make this as 1 and this as 1, and the remaining things can be zeros. So this is what about the interrupt enable. This register will enable all kind of interrupts for the microcontroller. And next, moving on to the next register, that is nothing but interrupt priority register. Interrupt priority register. So it is also of what we call 8-bit register. So it says that, say for example, if all the interrupts are coming to the controller at a time, if all the interrupts are coming to the controller at a time, so which interrupt needs to be served first? Which interrupt needs to be served first? That information will be given to the controller by interrupt priority. That means the priority based on the value of this particular register, the interrupt is going to be served. If you look at the priorities, these 3 bits are not in use. That means they have been not used till now. And if this particular bit is equals to 1, if IP dot 4, IP.4 is equals to 1, then the interrupt from serial port will be given highest priority. Giving priority to serial port interrupt, giving priority to timer 1 interrupt, giving priority to the external 1 interrupt, giving priority to timer 0 interrupt, giving priority to the interrupt which is coming externally from 0th device. So if based on the value, if this is equals to 1, say for example, if D1, IP.1, if IP.1 is equals to 1, then let it have any kind of interrupts. The first interrupt that is going to be served is the interrupt that is coming from timer 0. So that is how it will help the controller to solve the interrupts one by one. And what is the case? If all these bits are 1, if IP register is saying that you need to solve all the interrupts at a time. So how can that indicate if this value from D0 to D4, from D0 to D4, if all the values are 1s, that means all the interrupts have given the highest priority. Then how the controller will serve which interrupt it serves first? For that reason, by defaultly there is preference to the interrupts. If you see here, the lowest priority is given for the serial port interrupt and the highest priority is given for the interrupt that is coming externally from 0th device, 0th external interrupt. So if all these bits are 1, then in those scenario, it will follow this particular table. So this is from highest priority to the lowest priority. IE0 is nothing but interrupt that is coming externally from 0th device. So that will be given the highest priority and the least priority will be given to the serial port if all these bits are becoming 1. If they are not becoming 1 and if only one interrupt has been 1, then in that scenario, then it first look into the IP register. If IP register is providing only one interrupt to be served first, then it will serve that. But if IP register is giving 2 or 3 interrupts or all the interrupts needs to be served first, then at a time, as it cannot serve all of them at a time, it will now move on to this particular table. So based on the priority table, it serves those particular interrupts first. So this is what all about the IE register and IP registers. And what are the steps to be followed in order to write the program for timer or counter using interrupt method? So writing the program for timer or counter using interrupt method is also called as programming timer interrupts. It is also called as programming timer interrupts. And now we'll see what are the steps involved in it. The first step is initialize timer. It is common. It is there in polling method also. And next is that initialization of count. That means TH and TL needs to be calculated, the same step. And here the third step is that initialize IE register. But in polling method, third step is to start this timer. So before starting the timer in interrupt method, you need to initialize the IE register. And next, after starting the timer, the controller will go back to its original position. That means the return will be given to the controller. That means, say for example, a controller is executing one set of instructions and in between there is an interrupt. So controller will come out and serve the interrupt. While it is serving the interrupt, and if controller has to wait for some time, then controller can go back to its original program and it can execute that program until this waiting period is completed, whereas this provision is being not provided by the polling method. That is the reason we have been moved on to the interrupt method. So here return means controller will go back to its original program and it will execute that program until the loop in this particular program has been completed. And once if the program has been completed, this program has been completed, then controller will come back and it will stop the timer. So here the third step and the fifth step are new to you. Third and fifth step are new to you and the remaining all are same. And now we'll see how to write the program. I'm just considering the same example for your better understanding. Write an ALP to generate a square wave of 50% duty cycle and frequency of 1 kHz using timer 0 mode 0 in interrupt method. Here I'm mentioning that here I need to make use of interrupt method. So what is the first step? Loading the timer. For timer 0 mode 0, just now have explained you, it will be loaded with a value of zeros only, and move TH naught with IEH and TL naught with 33H. How we got IEH and 33H we have seen. While we need to calculate first a delay, and from the delay you will be getting a count in decimal. When you convert that count in decimal to hexadecimal, you will be getting a 4-bit result, and those 4 bits, first 2 bits will be loaded to the lower byte and the next 2 bits will be loaded to the higher byte. And here this is new to you. Move IE with 82. Why it has to be loaded with 82? Why it has to be loaded with 82? That we will discuss now. So further, you keep in your mind that timer 0, mode 0. So now move on to IE register, and now we will see how we got 82. See here. So we have to initialize IE register, and we have the information that timer 0 and timer 0 in mode 0. That is what the information that we have. So see here, in order to enable this particular what we call IE register, the D7 bit should be by defaultly 1. It should be 1, and here we are initializing timer 0. So which pin will represent the timer 0? Which pin will represent D1 pin? That means ET naught should be 1. ET naught should be 1. That means the remaining all should be replaced with 0. So in order to initialize IE, the last bit should be by defaultly 1. And as here in the program it is mentioned like timer 0 interrupt. So the interrupt related to the timer 0 should be enabled. That means the D7 and the D1 value should be 1s and all the remaining values should be 0. So now I have replaced D7 with 1. I am replacing D6 with 0, D5 with 0 and D4 with 0, and again D3 with 0, D2 with 0, and D1 I am replacing with 1. Why am I replacing D1 with 1? Because I want to enable the interrupt that is coming from timer 0. Timer 0 is mentioned in the program, and again I am making T naught is also as 0. So this is what the value of IE 1000 and 0010. And if you convert this into hexadecimal value, what do you get? These 4 bits will give you which information? 8. And if you convert this into the hexadecimal, it will be giving you 2H. This is how IE value is going to be 82H. So here you are loading your IE with 82H. That means you, with this particular instruction, you are indicating the controller that a timer 0 interrupt has been coming, and please serve that particular interrupt, and it will start serving that interrupt, and it will check whether it has to wait for or not. And yes, it has to wait for the overflow flag. It has to wait for the overflow flag. So instead of waiting for the overflow flag in this particular interrupt method, it will not wait. It will go and do your work. So here IE is being replaced with 82, and then we need to start the timer. In order to start the timer, this is the instruction. I have explained you this. And once if the timer has started, then controller here in this method, it no need to wait. So after starting the timer, the controller is returning. It is returning means from where it has come, it will return, it will do its work. And once if the operation is completed, then overflow flag will set. Overflow flag is setting means that is also a kind of interrupt. So the controller, when the controller gets an information that overflow flag is 1, then it will come back here and it will clear off the tcon.4. That means it is stopping the timer. It will stop the timer and it will exit the program. So this is where the timer, the controller is saving the time. After starting the timer in this interrupt method, it is returning to its original program. Here it is not waiting till the timer overflow flag becomes 1. Instead of waiting, it is returning to its original program and it is doing its program. And when the timer overflow flag becomes 1, it will come back, it will stop the timer and it will execute the program. So this is how you can write a program or using interrupt methods for the timer, or in a shorthand, this is how a programming of timer interrupts can be done in